Hey everyone, I have the engine installed in this funky little monster here. As you could guess, this is a rough outline of the hood that I'm going to have to make to go over this thing. And this is roughly what I got going on right here. Need to fill in the gap here where it's a little bit taller than where it used to be. No, only a 4 2x4s right here, so not too crazy. Still have the big tires on the front and the regular ones in the back to level it out, make it easier to work. But I have the transmission cooler lines, the fittings I need to run down underneath there. Got the 6AN fittings plugged into the transmission cooler up front there. I'll get to that here. So practice gasless flux core welding on some very thin primed and painted sheet metal. It is the worst. I don't recommend it. Here's the important bits of the wiring harness I'm going to need to connect this monstrosity together, and I think it should actually be relatively easy. I say that now, but I just need to plug everything here into where it goes up there, and I think I should only need to connect things like RPM sensor and speed sensors and the ignition lines, and I think it should actually work. Here are the transmission coolers. No transmission coolers. Coolant lines. Gonna need to do some custom plumbing work. I'll show you that later, probably in another video. That's still the original transfer case that I need to find room for in this thing. So that's gonna be some fab work here. But you know, the engine's all installed. Got some clearances. Gonna cap these off, and then I'll make just a little separate box going up and over the engine. Make it like a bolt-in hood. Probably do some reinforcements underneath it. Had a little bit of rigidity here. That's the remaining bits of the wiring harness I'm hoping I won't need to use. And as you can guess, this is to cover up and guard the engine when I had to do grinding and stuff, behind here. Because I probably should have done that a little bit later, but everything spins. Trying to keep some metal shavings out of this. Probably should have held off a bit. But all of these take some fancy routing down here, all the way back there. Let me. Yeah, so you can see the transmission cooler lines. Right there, and right there. I don't remember what that one is right there. I'll figure that out later. Just in time to hate myself. If you can see, tucked way in the back, right about there. So I gotta reroute those coolant lines from here and snake them all the way up back there around the custom exhaust manifold I'm going to be making here. So that is gonna take some fancy plumbing and routing. Still have that thing starter wrapped in tape, keep it clean, and an uncovered sensor right behind it. And you can even see my vaguely see my custom transmission brackets there. So you can guess that is what I made. Some C-channel right there, and then a plate there, and goes up around. Stock bolts. That right there is the stock original cross member, transmission mounting cross member. I just had to cut it and then splice it in here. And it's welded to the frame here. So 1/8 steel to 1/4 inch. And then, might take another video later, that is the exact same style as the frame bolts just behind the camera here. I'll show later. But that's 1/4 inch plate bolted to 1/4 inch plate with grade 8 bolts. So that should be plenty strong enough. You can see some of the bolts here because I pinned the frame just as extra precaution. And this is the how the frame is linked together. 1/4 inch walled 2x6 box tube welded to 1/2 inch plate, bolted in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 2 is over here. 10 1/2 inch grade 8 bolts. So this is probably the strongest thing in the whole vehicle. Arguably more than the iron block of this thing. So, of course, I'm going to go around and neaten it up, clean up some of those bolt holes so I can actually, you know, put the bolts in. That's the frame. And then the classic, of course, my 13 inches of spacers here. I haven't even touched the front suspension yet, so that's going to be fun. Yeah, I probably should have covered this up too. But, you know, all smart stuff here. The seat mounts are still here. That's 1, 2, so they're there. They are, in fact, there. So that actually shouldn't be too bad. I've removed, like, 3 square feet from the cab space, but it's actually more than you would think, so it ain't all that bad. Well, I'm here just for kicks. This is fun to look at. It's looking a little crooked, not supported evenly on the install there, but you know, fix that. The suspensions aren't evenly. Coilovers aren't evenly leveled there, so they're just sitting on the bottom, at least on one of them. So need to tighten those up. But I got the frame pinned. Got 4 per side. Again, 1/2 inch grade 8 bolts. Got some washers and stuff there. I have the bolts and nuts to finish that off. And now we get to the front. Should be actually pretty close to being bolt up, actually. The trick is getting this situated back in here and run as a substitute reservoir, so I can actually have one. Although not necessary, it'd be nice to have one. I mean, I don't need a full-size one, but it's good to have. Definitely fun trying to figure out what sizes here, going from OEM Smart to OEM Suburban, with all the extra inputs and outputs on the Smart. There's 4, I think. There's only 2, I think, on the Suburban. You can see if you sneak in there. Let's get the light. This hole right down here is where those 3 pipes run normally. They're basically in a tunnel underneath that connect to the back. So, since the reservoir isn't even needed to begin with, little smaller diameter hoses I'm not too worried about. Other than that, this is essentially going to be the stock front end. I just need to lift this front end here up to plug it in. You know, it's because it's plastic. I mean, there you go. I deserve that. That's happened once already, so I deserve that one. But you know, looks pretty mean with those tires on. The hopefully these are some extra parts I'm not gonna actually need. I might add the brake booster and, you know, master cylinder, the reservoirs here, but I'm not sure yet because the weight on this shouldn't be too different, and there's very minimal braking, there's no power steering, so I might be all set with the original Smart components. We'll find out later. You know, piles of body panels here. The bumper. I may or may not put some box tubing in for that, either to it or in place of it, but I don't want to get sandwiched between the bumper and the rear bumper and in an accident. Let's see now. Okay, now here's my maximum overkill transmission cooler. Can't remember where it's from, but this is for an RV, transmission cooler radiator thing. This is the original mount for the Smart car. And here's a gas tank full of premium gas, so sitting on gold, but it's 2 years old, so that may not be usable. So originally, this fit these two radiators here. I don't need the regular stock Smart radiator because I need one for a truck, so that's going in the back, and I can remove that and clear space out for the transmission cooler here, because I don't think the Smart has one. So this thing is the AC condenser? Not condenser. Regardless, this just fits in like stock. Plugs right in. It goes right in there. Easy peasy. It's nice when things actually fit together. Pretty easy. I just got these in today. These 6 AN fittings here will fit those transmission cooler lines earlier on. So that actually works out pretty well. I went with the soft lines instead of cheaper hard lines because this is a mess. I don't know how it's going to be routed around in here. I have a rough idea, but I don't know. I don't have a hard path. So yeah, there's not that much to it up here. There's no power steering, so I might need to add that. I'm not sure. It's pretty light. Even with these 38s on, I can still steer it by hand. And really, that is where the big Smart is. So, I mean, it only took 4 tries to do the frame. Just had to do trial and error in the end. But it worked, so luckily that is the most time-consuming part done, and I can just get to finishing this up, getting the hood on, and having fun with all that stuff. The custom rear differential, transfer case, and I might ghetto rig a custom transfer case because SCS makes one that I need, but it's $5 grand, and that's like a third the cost of this whole thing. So I can't really spring for that right now, but I guess I get to do some old school chain drives, huh? Let's see how that turns out.